Hi everybody, this is Shashank Mathur at the Infosys booth at Mobile World Congress Barcelona 2025, and I'm joined here with Mitch Gunnels from AT&T and Bali from Infosys. Thank you so much, Mitch and Bali, for being here today. It's great to have you, and thank you for being available here to share your insights. So, Mitch, let's start with you. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, and also that what message are you bringing to this Mobile World Congress?
I'm Mitch Gunnels. I'm the AVP of Technology within AT&T. And if I were to talk about that area specifically, I would divide it into two different groups. One group is that I work on the development of applications for the mobility and fiber networks, specifically with the forecasting, planning, engineering, design, and construction of those networks. So all the applications utilized in those areas. And then the other side of my group is really highly focused on agentic AI. And that's actually why I'm here at MWC to really talk about agentic AI and what AT&T is doing with it.
Yeah, well, that sounds very, very interesting. So, Mitch, first of all, thank you so much for all the partnership between AT&T and Infosys. There is so much great work in the AI space happening. So, tell us a little bit about more, what kind of business impact are you seeing in the, AI related work at AT&T?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's important that I talk about the journey and give a little context of how AT&T started with generative AI and then moved to agentic AI. So we've been in the AI business for tens of years, so a very long time. But generative AI, we started early on before a lot of enterprises did with the foresight of our CTO, Jeremy Lay, and our chief data officer and AI officer, Andy Marcus. So we really looked at that early on and we said, hey, we need to take advantage of this as an enterprise. And so we kind of did some of the non-sexy stuff really quick, which are things like ensuring that we had a walled garden to protect our IP, that we had the proper plagiarism, copyleft, copyright checks in place. We had abuse monitoring, and we handled all of that relatively quickly and stood up our initial use cases of generative AI. Once we had that foundation in place, what I call the AI primitives, once we had the AI primitives in place, we could then move on and start running with agentic AI. And so we built a platform within AT&T that had interoperability, extensibility, and scalability in mind. Because especially when you think about interoperability and extensibility, we really don't know who's going to win the battle with generative AI. It is still in its infancy. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a unified platform that could take advantage of AI agents and create workflows for not only the development area within ATS or AT&T's technology side of things, but also the business. And so, like I said, we started that early on. And today we have over 400 production AI agents, and these work across the different sectors of business, whether that's network, HR, care, obviously within development as well, which I'd love to talk about. And we've seen a huge impact. And so one of the big takeaways that I've seen at MWC is that a lot of people are talking about AI. They've got a lot of products here, but not a lot of people are talking about what they have in production in really enterprise use cases. And AT&T has that. We're kind of tip of the spear in this area. And it's exciting for us to promote that message that we adopted this early on. We've put some standards in place, and we're seeing a lot of good out of using AI agents within AT&T.
That was great, Mitch. So, Bali, over to you. So, tell us a little bit about what Infosys is doing, your role, and like Mitch said about AI. So, how is the industry ecosystem developing in AI? So, looking forward to hear your views.
Thanks, Shashank. I think, as Mitch mentioned, most companies have dabbled with AI. They've done some POCs and some pilots, but not many of them have scaled in AI the way that AT&T has done, right? I think what we see in AT&T is that they have very strong foundations, right? A platform-based approach that is actually extensible, making it de-linked with the actual model itself, that you can actually, as newer and better model comes there, that they can actually adopt, putting together responsible AI guardrails, the data strategy that actually needs to be done for scaling AI. Those become essential foundational blocks for enterprises to really scale AI beyond the initial POCs and pilots. And that is what we are actually helping enterprises to do. Set up the foundations and then set up the organization. And typically what we've seen is that you need a central organization for with deep expertise to drive this, but you have to democratize the adoption across the entire organization. And then you need to actually think about your data strategy and how you actually make sure that the data that you are actually getting in is current, you're able to set up the right accesses. So all of this becomes very essential in terms of the building blocks. And so once you have that right, then you can actually focus on the use cases that gives you the maximum benefits and scale it rapidly. And that is what we are actually working with most enterprises to do.
Thank you so much, Bali. So, Mitch, when we talk about the industry ecosystem, particularly in the telecom domain, how do you see AT&T positioned in the wider industry ecosystem?
In terms of AI in the industry, I do think that AT&T is leading the pack within AI. And, I've already talked about our production use cases and over 400 AI agents in production. And I think everybody starts with operational efficiency, which is a great place to start. You see that generative AI can really help out in those areas. You advance to agentic AI, and it helps out even more. But we're now on the side of revenue generation with agents and agentic AI. And this will start coming to fruition in the next couple of months within AT&T. But it's exciting, and I think it's an opportunity that the telecoms really shouldn't miss. We've missed other opportunities, and we shouldn't miss this opportunity to really generate revenue off of AI in general. And then, we talked about democratization and AI adoption within AT&T or just in general in the industry. It is somewhat of a difficult problem. There's this idea of an AI first mindset. And so what I ask folks to really start to do is to use AI especially generative AI, to complete tasks. And, most people, when they think about generative AI, they use it to write an email or write a verbose Word document. And by the way, that verbose Word document that you pass on to someone, they're just going to use generative AI to summarize it, right? So this cycle that is kind of interesting. So what I tell people to do is start working with generative AI to accomplish tasks. And when you do that, you'll start feeling a little bit of the frustration that people get with stochastic systems in that it doesn't do it at the very first time. You have to start breaking down the tasks. But as you learn to work with generative AI in that way, you'll be able to work with a co-intelligence that I believe everybody will have working alongside them in the near future. And that co-intelligence could be a workforce of AI agents. It could be something specifically tuned to your persona or job. And, we're really headed in that direction. But helping folks start utilizing generative AI in that method does help with adoption and democratization in this space.
That sounds really great. Thank you so much, Mitch, for sharing that. And once again, thank you for the partnership with Infosys also. So let me ask you, you're here at MWC since the last few days. So what's been interesting for you? What all did you like? Any particular thing you want to highlight?
Maybe it's kind of one of those things that I just really love startups.
Yeah.
I really love innovation. So going over to the innovation and the founders and the startup groups and just talking to, surprisingly enough, a lot of young people bringing new ideas. So I love that part. And getting to understand their thoughts and how they think that this will change their lives and having a general conversation. So I really enjoyed that. Some other things that stood out to me. Number one is that AI is a main topic here. With that said, there's a huge amount of investment in this space. But what I'm still seeing is there's a lot of products, capabilities out there, but not a lot of enterprise use cases in production. And this is, again, where I think AT&T has a little bit of an edge. We've really pushed these into production and begun to utilize them. And on top of that, I'll just reiterate one thing. We can't miss this period in time within the telco space to create revenue out of AI. We really need to lean in and be bold with that. And those are kind of my main takeaways. Again, love the startups, love all the platforms that are out there, but we really need to focus on ensuring that we generate revenue in this space.
No, that sounds absolutely great. The startups definitely are one of the most exciting things, and so much more AI stuff in the in the whole event here, right? Bali, if I may ask you the same question, that what have you found interesting at the MWC 25?
Yeah, I think the startups and some of the innovations have certainly been very refreshing to see. The focus on AI and especially agentic AI, that has been very apparent in right, and we really believe that as Mitch was actually saying, right, what agentic AI is allowing you to do is to go beyond AI being assistants to AI being collaborators, right? That you can actually collaborate to actually do your task. And I see significant potential in the telecom industry, right, in terms of the various different processes and what you can do with that, the efficiency, revenue generation, and also customer experience. I think there is significant room to actually impact all three of these dimensions, which are very important for telco. And you see innovations that are there, but it is about taking all of these and doing it in production and in scale. And that is what we are trying to help enterprises to do. We have created a playbook based on our learnings that we have worked with several organizations like AT&T and others. And we are helping enterprises to go from POC and pilots to scaled implementation using all these best practices.
Thank you, Mitch and Bali, for the great insights. It's been great to have you here. Thank you so much for being at the Infosys booth here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.